Today we're going to reveal the real reason behind the most intriguing statement made by Willie Nelson, one of the most iconic names in American music, who surprised fans and critics alike when he said he wants everything to come to an end before it's too late. Between behind-the-scenes secrets, old controversies with the industry, personal conflicts that marked his journey, and decisions that changed the course of his career, this video uncovers layers that few dare to touch. If you're watching, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel. This is essential for YouTube to recognize the content as relevant and continue recommending it to more people. And if you can support even further, use super thanks. But if you can't, just leave a comment about what surprised you the most. Stay until the end because the final revelation is the most impactful of all and promises to completely change the way you see Willie Nelson. Willie Hugh Nelson was born in 1933 in the small town of Abbott, Texas, and his humble beginnings played a decisive role in shaping his personality. Raised by his maternal grandparents after his parents separated, Willie grew up in an environment where music was a daily language, something as natural as the air he breathed. His grandparents, deeply religious, encouraged not only musical practice, but also values such as humility, resilience, and generosity, which would accompany him throughout his life. As a child, Willie learned to play the guitar and began composing his first songs as a way to express feelings he couldn't put into words. Amid farm chores, the scorching Texas summers, and the harsh economic reality of the time, he found in music both an escape and a calling. Living within a rural community also nurtured his sensitivity to simple, yet emotionally profound stories that would later become the hallmark of his songwriting. From an early age, he observed people, absorbed conversations, understood the struggles of others, and transformed all of it into inspiration. His childhood, though marked by challenges, shaped his worldview, the belief that life is tough but beautiful, that every person carries a story worth telling, and that freedom, both artistic and personal, is one of the most precious things anyone can have. These roots, formed among cotton fields, gospel songs, and the affection of his grandparents, became the foundation of one of the most authentic artists in American history. And it is within this context that his path to fame was marked by persistence, courage, and an extraordinary ability to turn rejection into opportunity. It is impossible to talk about his career without highlighting the profound impact he had on American country music. From his early years in Nashville, Nelson faced countless difficulties. Traditional record labels considered his voice strange, and his appearance didn't match the stereotype of the classic country star. He wrote songs for other artists, some of which became major hits such as Crazy, made famous by Patsy Cline, but paradoxically, he still struggled to establish himself as a performer in his own right. During the 1960s, while writing hits for renowned artists and trying to build his own career, Nelson lived on the margins of the mainstream circuit, facing constant criticism and pressure from the music industry, which tried to mold him to rigid standards. This tension between talent and institutional limitation became fuel for his creativity. In the 1970s, everything changed. He moved to Austin, Texas, a city then in full cultural and musical effervescence, one that embraced experimentation and artistic freedom. In this environment, he became a central figure in the outlaw country movement, along with Waylon Jennings, which sought to break free from the constraints of Nashville, where producers rigidly controlled the artist's repertoire, image, and musical production. Nelson defended the idea that musicians should have total autonomy over their compositions, arrangements, and performances, challenging the traditional industry system while gaining a new audience hungry for authenticity. He adopted a rebellious aesthetic: long hair, bandana, simple clothes, a laid-back attitude, and behaviors that contrasted sharply with the carefully polished shine of Nashville. Outlaw country was not just a musical genre, it was a cultural movement representing freedom, individuality, and resistance to conformity. Willie's rise in this period was not only due to musical quality, but also to his ability to build a compelling narrative around his persona, the artist who sings about real life, real problems, loves, losses, and celebrations, while maintaining artistic integrity. Album after album, he consolidated a unique sound blending country, folk, and blues, while his irreverent and independent manner attracted fans who identified with his authenticity. From then on, Nelson became not just a musician but a cultural icon, inspiring generations of artists to question standards and seek creative freedom, while building a solid and enduring career grounded in the courage to be different and the ability to turn adversity into success. His story is a living example of how perseverance, artistic vision, and the courage to break rules can redefine not just a career, but an entire genre. Throughout his career, Willie Nelson built a media presence that goes far beyond stages and albums, becoming a recognizable name in television, advertising, and special projects that reinforced his image as a cultural icon and his ability to reinvent himself. Since the 1970s, when his fame exploded with the outlaw country movement, Nelson began receiving invitations to TV programs ranging from classic talk shows like The Tonight Show to musical specials and documentary series that explored his life, career, and artistic vision. His television presence was never merely promotional. Willie brought personality, humor, and authenticity to each appearance, captivating audiences of all ages and regions. He often used these platforms to talk about topics important to him, such as civil rights, artistic freedom, sustainable farming, and the medicinal use of cannabis. Beyond television, Nelson developed strategic advertising partnerships that reflected his lifestyle and values, not just his popularity. He collaborated with brands related to beverages, cars, musical instruments, and even agricultural products, always choosing projects that aligned with his image of authenticity and independent spirit. Unlike many artists, Willie never sold himself massively to any campaign. His partnerships were carefully selected to ensure his personal brand remained consistent with his life story and with the audience that followed him. These collaborations not only expanded his cultural influence, but also contributed to his financial stability, especially during periods when his music career faced challenges. Willie Nelson also stood out for his ability to combine music and media in innovative ways. He appeared in documentaries, radio programs, and more recently, streaming platforms, showing himself as an artist who adapts to changes in the industry without losing his essence. Over the years, he used these opportunities to share personal stories, behind-the-scenes moments from shows, and insights into his creative process, building a close relationship with fans and strengthening his legacy. His media presence is not simply a consequence of fame, but an extension of his ability to communicate his life philosophy, freedom, authenticity, and resistance to the conventional. Willie Nelson has always been an artist who not only made music, but also embodied an independent, bold, and at times controversial stance. Since his early years in Nashville, he stood out not only for his musical talent, but for challenging established norms and questioning the rigid standards of the industry. Many of the public conflicts that marked his career emerged from his need to preserve artistic authenticity in an environment that favored strict conventions, standardized images, and submission to record labels. In the 1960s, Nelson became a highly successful songwriter, creating hits for major artists such as Patsy Cline, Roy Orbison, and Billy Walker, yet paradoxically facing difficulties in gaining recognition for his own performances. This tension between talent, creative freedom, and external pressure generated the first battles that would become public, as Nelson did not hesitate to criticize the music system that sought to mold artists to often artificial commercial standards. In the 1970s, after moving to Austin and embracing the outlaw country movement, Nelson intensified his controversial stance, not only musically, but also publicly. He defended the right of musicians to control their own repertoire, arrangements, and image, directly challenging producers and record labels that held enormous power in Nashville. Statements such as, "I don't work for anyone but my conscience and my guitar," along with interviews in which he openly criticized the music industry, drew media attention and divided opinions. While fans and more progressive critics saw this as courage and authenticity, the more traditional sectors of country music accused him of disrespecting norms and prioritizing personal interests over the collective structure of the industry. This independent posture, though risky, cemented his image as a rebellious, free-spirited artist and a reference for other musicians seeking to escape institutional rigidity. Beyond conflicts with record labels, Willie Nelson also became involved in public debates surrounding politics and social issues, which further heightened his controversial profile. For decades, he has spoken out on causes such as marijuana legalization, civil rights, social justice, and environmental protection. His statements in interviews about cannabis legalization, for example, generated controversy at a time when the subject was highly criminalized in the United States, and the public position of a traditional country icon triggered mixed reactions, from applause by younger and more liberal audiences to severe criticism from conservatives and more traditional media outlets. Throughout the years, Nelson remained firm in his views, not only as an activist, but as someone who uses visibility to discuss issues he considers important, even knowing that doing so could affect his career or public image. Another major point in his controversies involves his stance on taxes and personal finances. In the 1990s, Nelson faced a dramatic financial crisis when the U.S. government claimed he owed millions in taxes. The situation, widely covered by the media, became one of the greatest public controversies of his life. Willie lost properties, had assets seized, and needed to negotiate extensively to rebuild his financial situation. During this period, he made candid public statements, criticizing not only the complexity of the tax system, but also highlighting what he perceived as flaws and injustices in the way artists were treated by the government. This transparency in dealing with such a delicate issue caught public attention and reinforced his image as someone authentic, unafraid to expose mistakes or injustices even when vulnerable. Willie Nelson also became involved in controversial discussions about lifestyle, celebrity, and fame. Over the decades, he revealed in interviews that, despite his image as a rebellious, party-loving country star, he did not align with traditional Hollywood cliches. Comments about excessive partying, the pressure to maintain a public image, and criticisms of the superficiality of certain entertainment environments sparked strong reactions, but also open dialogue about authenticity, artistic integrity, and personal well-being. He never tried to fit the stereotype of the famous musician. On the contrary, his statements often directly confronted media and societal expectations, reinforcing his reputation as an independent and sometimes provocative figure. In recent years, even at an advanced stage, Willie has continued to participate in public discussions and make statements that draw attention. He comments on the contemporary music industry, changes in how artists are treated, and the evolution of popular culture. Although these statements are not as radical as some from the past, they maintain the critical and reflective spirit that has always characterized him. Nelson manages to balance decades of experience with awareness of his position as an icon, offering firm opinions, often controversial, but always grounded in personal experience and in the defense of principles he considers essential, such as creative freedom, social justice, and authenticity. Beyond political, financial, and artistic issues, Willie has also been involved in smaller but symbolic controversies linked to his role as a social activist. He participated in campaigns defending small farmers, climate change action, and community-based causes, often criticizing public policies or corporations that, in his view, harmed ordinary citizens. In each of these episodes, His statements were met with applause from part of the public and criticism from other sectors, reinforcing his profile as an artist unafraid of controversy, someone who speaks his mind and accepts the risks of taking public positions. The impact of these controversies and polemic statements goes beyond Willie Nelson's image as a musician. He has become a cultural symbol. His courage to express himself freely helped open space for broader debates about artistic freedom, individual rights, and social responsibility. At the same time, his ability to maintain relevance and respect even after decades of public conflicts demonstrates both maturity and strategic awareness. Willie Nelson's career contains deep layers of struggle, difficulty, and tragedy that marked both his personal and professional life. From a very young age, he faced financial and emotional challenges. Growing up in Abbott, Texas, in a modest family with limited resources, he learned early the value of hard work and resilience. This foundation of perseverance was tested repeatedly throughout his life, especially during moments of financial crises, legal issues, and health problems that threatened his career and personal stability. During the 1980s and 1990s, Nelson's fame and musical success did not shield him from severe financial troubles. In particular, the tax crisis he faced in the 1990s was one of the most challenging periods of his life. Nelson underwent complex negotiations to settle the debt, and during that time, he made public statements about what he perceived as the unfairness of the tax system and the pressure placed on independent artists. He revealed in interviews how the situation affected him emotionally, shaking his confidence, peace of mind, and sense of security. Even so, he maintained a firm and resilient posture, demonstrating determination to rebuild both his career and his finances. Beyond tax-related crises, Nelson's career was also impacted by health concerns. Throughout his life, he faced respiratory issues and surgery-related complications that, although not incapacitating, required constant attention and periods of recovery. The pressure to maintain an intense routine of tours, recordings, and public appearances, combined with these health concerns, placed Nelson under significant physical and mental stress. He always spoke openly about these difficulties, highlighting the importance of discipline, caring for the body, and balancing work with rest, even when professional demands were enormous. Willie Nelson also faced personal and family tragedies that deeply influenced his emotional journey. The loss of close family members, including children and individuals of immense importance in his life, generated periods of reflection and melancholy that were often reflected in his compositions and performances. Despite the pain, he found in music and in simple rural life ways to cope with grief, transform mourning into artistic expression, and convey messages of hope and resilience. These experiences strengthened his image as a sensitive artist capable of turning difficult moments into emotional narratives that connect with generations of fans. Another challenging period involved managing his wealth and career in a music market undergoing constant change. Willie Nelson has always been financially astute, investing in property, copyrights, and commercial collaborations, but he still had to deal with unexpected economic challenges. The music industry changed drastically with the rise of technology, streaming, and the decline of physical sales, requiring constant adaptation. Nelson faced periods in which certain investments were not as profitable as expected and had to adjust his strategy to ensure the continuity of his lifestyle and musical career. These moments demanded patience, financial intelligence, and a willingness to reinvent himself without sacrificing authenticity. Recent tragedies, even at his advanced age, also affected Nelson's life. The global pandemic brought unprecedented challenges for touring artists like him, suspending shows, limiting fan interactions, and reducing income from live performances. Despite the difficulties, Nelson adapted by performing virtual shows, participating in recordings, and staying in close contact with his fans through social media and streaming platforms. These moments of global crisis highlighted his capacity for resilience and adaptability, showing that even established icons must confront and overcome unforeseen adversities. In addition to financial, health, and pandemic-related issues, Nelson also dealt with legal and property disputes. Throughout his career, lawsuits involving copyright, the use of his image, and commercial disagreements occurred, requiring him to navigate complex contracts and high-stakes negotiations. Each episode demanded skill, patience, and legal support, reinforcing that even legendary artists are not immune to the bureaucratic challenges of professional life. The combination of financial crises, health problems, personal losses, and legal obstacles shaped Nelson's personality, making him not only an admired musician, but also an example of perseverance. He learned to cope with stress, to value every moment with family, and to maintain artistic integrity even when pressured by external difficulties. This ability to overcome adversity is frequently highlighted by fans and critics, who see in Nelson a figure who transcends music, representing resilience, authenticity, and courage. Despite having faced these hardships, Willie Nelson managed to rebuild his life and career. He regained financial stability, invested in property, expanded his media presence, and maintained an active and relevant artistic career. His ranch in Texas became a symbol of stability, refuge, and creative space, allowing him to balance work, personal life, and moments of reflection. Intensity, deep affections, and emotional challenges that intertwined inseparably with his career have always accompanied Willie Nelson's personal life. He went through 4 marriages, each one reflecting different phases of his life: his dreams, his insecurities, and his constant need for freedom. Willie has always been honest in admitting that his life on the road, with long tours and an unpredictable routine, often created tensions within his relationships. Despite this, he maintains strong bonds with his children, valuing every moment spent together and trying to compensate for inevitable absences with affection and continuous support. His family was always a safe harbor, but also a source of emotional dilemmas, especially when conflicts arose between the demanding public life and the private life he so deeply wished to protect. In addition, the loss of loved ones over the years made him more reflective and sensitive, influencing his calm, philosophical, and sometimes melancholic way of seeing the world. Maturity helped Willie better understand the mistakes and successes of the past, leading him, in recent years, to cultivate a more peaceful relationship with his family, marked by frequent gatherings at his ranch in Texas, where he finds peace in music, nature, and simple conversations. It is in this intimate environment, surrounded by the people who truly matter, that Willie reveals his most human, vulnerable, and affectionate side, a beautiful contrast to the public image of a rebellious icon of American music. Willie Nelson, over a career that spans more than 6 decades, has built not only an immense musical legacy, but also a considerable fortune, the result of a combination of talent, perseverance, and strategic decisions. Despite the financial crises and legal challenges he faced throughout his life, he managed to rebuild his economic stability, and it is estimated that his net worth stands in the range of tens of millions of dollars, accumulated through touring, album sales, royalties, advertising partnerships, personal investments, and property holdings. A significant portion of this wealth also comes from his ability to manage the rights to his own compositions, ensuring that hits like On the Road Again and Always on My Mind continue to generate revenue decades after their release. The way Nelson has structured his investments demonstrates a careful approach to the future and a clear understanding of the value of maintaining control over his music, his name, and his image, allowing him to preserve both financial and artistic independence, even within an industry that is often unpredictable. Willie Nelson's lifestyle reflects a blend of simplicity, comfort, and a love for authentic experiences. He maintains his primary residence on his ranch in Spicewood, Texas, where he has spent much of his adult life. This place serves not only as his home, but also as a retreat, a recording studio, and a gathering spot for family, friends, and musicians who have collaborated with him throughout the years. Despite his fortune, Nelson prefers a relatively modest lifestyle, valuing nature, outdoor living, horses, dogs, and the agricultural routine that has always been central to his identity. He collects musical instruments, especially rare and customized guitars, some with stories and signatures that make them unique pieces, but his sense of luxury remains understated, reflecting personal taste more than a need to show off. Classic cars, small properties, and the everyday elements of rural life complete this lifestyle, balancing comfort, freedom, and connection to his roots. Willie Nelson's current routine continues to be marked by activity and discipline, even at an advanced age. He maintains a schedule that combines rehearsals, recording sessions, public commitments, media appearances, and, whenever possible, leisure time with family and close friends. Life on the ranch allows him to organize his time in a balanced way, blending light physical activities, outdoor walks, and daily musical practice, which has become essential not only to his career, but also to his emotional well-being. Nelson also dedicates time to social projects and awareness campaigns, especially those related to sustainable agriculture, musicians' rights, and environmental preservation. He stays actively engaged with the public and society, demonstrating that his routine extends far beyond music and embraces social responsibility and cultural legacy. Even at his age, Willie Nelson remains active in tours, special performances, and collaborations, showing surprising energy and the ability to maintain close contact with fans. His discipline in balancing work, rest, and personal life allows him to prolong his career, maintaining his voice, stage presence, and the emotional connection that made him famous. This balance between luxury, simplicity, artistic dedication, and personal daily life is a defining characteristic of his current lifestyle, showing that it is possible to maintain comfort and success without giving up the authenticity, freedom, and passions that shaped his journey. His fortune and lifestyle are not just symbols of success, but also tools that enable him to preserve independence, creative freedom, and harmonious routine where music, family, and nature coexist in equilibrium, solidifying Willie Nelson as an example of longevity, authenticity, and personal and professional balance. Willie Nelson is, without a doubt, one of the most iconic figures in American music, and his legacy transcends generations, musical genres, and cultural boundaries. His career is marked not only by the creation of memorable songs, but also by his ability to influence artists, cultural movements, and the very understanding of what it means to be an independent and authentic musician. From the beginning of his career, he challenged the standards established by the music industry, especially in Nashville, where strict control was imposed on artists' repertoire, arrangements, and image. By helping to create the outlaw country movement in the 1970s, alongside Waylon Jennings and other musicians, Nelson redefined the concept of artistic freedom in country music, showing that artists could maintain full control of their work without compromising success or relevance. This impact resonated not only in country music, but also in folk, blues, and rock, paving the way for future generations of musicians to have creative autonomy and dare to break away from rigid market expectations. Nelson's legacy is also deeply connected to his public personality and the image of authenticity he cultivated. Unlike many artists of his time, he was never afraid to take political stances, defend social causes, or engage in controversial discussions about freedom, civil rights, cannabis legalization, and social justice. These actions transformed him into a cultural symbol, someone who represents courage, integrity, and the idea that staying true to oneself is more important than pleasing everyone. The combination of music, activism, and personality made him a reference not only for fans, but also for musicians, journalists, and scholars of American culture, who often cite him as an example of resistance to conformity and commitment to principles. Furthermore, Nelson's cultural impact is evident in his influence on generations of artists who see him as a model of longevity and creativity. His ability to reinvent himself, remain relevant across decades, and move through different musical eras without losing his identity is rare in the music industry. Collaborations with contemporary artists, appearances at festivals, special recordings, and streaming projects show that even at an advanced age, he continues to exert significant influence, inspiring new talent and proving that an artistic career can be long-lasting and innovative when rooted in authenticity, passion, and integrity. Willie Nelson has also solidified his cultural impact through his personal life and lifestyle choices. His ranch in Texas, his commitment to environmental causes, his involvement in community projects, and his ethical stance toward music and fame reinforce the legacy of a man who not only produced hits, but built an admirable and coherent life story. Nelson's image transcends music. He is seen as an icon of freedom, resilience, and a philosophy of life based on authenticity, balance between work and leisure, and the appreciation of human relationships. Today, Willie Nelson remains active and relevant, even past the age of 90. He still takes part in tours, recordings, special events, and media appearances, maintaining the energy, passion, and charisma that won him fans around the world. His routine combines musical activities with moments of leisure on the ranch, time spent with family, dedication to social causes, and reflection on his own story and legacy. He maintains a close relationship with fans, supports new artists, and participates in collaborative projects that expand his cultural influence. His voice remains unmistakable, his compositions timeless, and his public stance, rooted in honesty and social engagement, continues to be an example of how it's possible to age with dignity, relevance, and positive impact. Willie Nelson's legacy is, therefore, multifaceted. He's a revolutionary musician, a social activist, a cultural icon, and an inspiration to those who believe in the importance of creative freedom, authenticity, and perseverance. His story proves that talent, courage, and strong principles can remain relevant across decades, and that it is possible to transform personal and professional challenges into opportunities for growth, learning, and meaningful contribution to the world.